Let's talk about one thing, which technically, when it comes to DC, yes, they had that little hiccup, and the hiccup got even worse. Where it's like, it took me two times watching the movie to be like, oh, that's who the character was. Yeah, Katie Holmes, you suck. But when it comes to Marvel, there was like two different things. One was Terrence Howard. So basically, it was Marvel actually, this was their last ditch effort. So when it comes to Terrence Howard, they technically wanted Don Cheadle for the very beginning, but they actually told Terrence Howard they were going to guarantee him a role. So I guess technically when it comes to that is they shouldn't have jumped to conclusions, or they could have at least let him down easy and be like, ah, well, we promise you a role, but we're gonna wait for a movie that actually will be suitable for you. Even though I think Terrence Howard would be a little bit pissed off, I'm not sure. Terrence Howard is doing great though. He's doing great. So the whole goodbye wasn't anything. For me personally, it was just me basically going to be like, can we refilm Iron Man? I'm sorry to be a jerk, but it's like, can we refilm Iron Man and put Don Cheadle wherever all of where he was there? It's like, can we redo it? If we can redo the whole entire scenes and then give us a brand new Iron Man, this Iron Man one where Don Cheadle was in period, that would be great because it sucks. It's like a horrible blip where it's like Terrence Howard's gone. It's like, who is this guy? Whoa. Where the hell you came from? Hotel Rwanda? What the frick? Are we doing Hotel Rwanda 2? Bringing the hammer? Bringing the Warhammer? Yeah, that was really kind of sad on that one. But it wasn't Terrence Howard's fault. And they were, I guess technically they'll be like, oh, but he wasn't mentioned in. But they were like, oh, but we wanted Don Cheadle in the first place. And it's like, you could have let him down easy, right? I mean, is it really going to be messed up to actually tell Terrence Howard, we told you one thing, but well, we found. I know it sounds horrible, but I would prefer when it comes to continuity, I don't have this blip every single time. I want to see it from the very beginning. Speaking of which, let's talk about Incredible Hulk. Now, Incredible Hulk was not actually Marvel's decision. This time, it was more like Universal being a bastard. So here is the case that happens when it comes to Edward Norton. They said later in Avengers, Edward Norton wasn't compatible with all their casts that they have for Avengers. Okay, the good news is that it wasn't even Marvel's fault. It was Universal. Universal was looking at their choice of the character for Hulk, and they're like, nah, he's not a well-known person. Since he's not well known, no, we pick Edward Norton. Yeah, and the person they chose was actually Mark Ruffalo, believe it or not. But Mark Ruffalo was already ordained to be the Hulk. But here we go with this where Universal is being a complete idiot. Well, at least the good news is that this time around, when it comes to Universal, it's not going to be very messed up. They have She Hulk now. So She Hulk is going to most likely be a joint venture. Hopefully they won't frick that up. But considering they just only have Hulk movie and then another Hulk movie, and then that's it, they just allow Hulk to be used, but they don't have any whatsoever interaction with the movies, I'm pretty sure we'll be just fine. But on the other hand, considering it is still their character and stuff, we don't know exactly what the deal is. For all we know, they could have like some input, and it's like, well, they did do the whole crap with Edward Norton, you know? It's like, and no offense, I love the movie. I love the movie. I like enjoy Edward Norton. I wish there was some way to work it out. Or, of course, my crazy nut job idea is, why don't we take the Incredible Hulk and refilm it with Mark Ruffalo in it? I mean, how bad would that be? I know it's messed up, but I'm just saying, I would prefer to have Mark Ruffalo have that Mark Ruffalo film instead of having one with Edward Norton. I enjoy Edward Norton's take on it. I enjoy it. It's just that if we really want it to fit in, it's kind of like we have to say, frick this. We start with Thor. It's like, yeah, frick this. We start with Thor. Or technically, we start with Iron Man 2. Yeah, that's it. We start with Iron Man 2 and then continue on from there. The first two movies, they're great and all, but it's like they don't actually match in well with the rest of the movies. And that's sad to say, but it's like Marvel did an oopsie and Universal underestimated Mark Ruffalo. They were like, yeah, but he's a new kid on the block. And it's like 3 years to 4 years later, oh, he did like two movies and holy frick, oh man, we see what you were talking about now. It's like, yeah, well, you don't get to have any say in it, do you? And it's like, my goodness, Universal. It's like, seriously, when it comes to that big situation there, I'm like, Universal, you lose your rights to freaking damn Hulk. It's just because you did that dumb idea there that made Incredible Hulk just a good standalone movie. It's like Iron Man is a good standalone movie too. Gee whiz, man. It's like that was their fault. From what I've heard, it's like that was their fault. Marvel always wanted Mark Ruffalo. As for Terrence Howard, that was on Marvel's end because someone actually promised him a role. And I don't know. I don't know what to say on that one. I mean, I would have preferred they just chose something else, you know? I would prefer that they just gave him like a one off movie where he actually is going to be awesome in, you know? Just a one off movie. Like, for instance, maybe another spin off of Guardians of the Galaxy where you have this guy, which is Terrence Howard, and he's doing something cool. That's all. It's like, that's all. That's all I have to say on that one. Could Terrence Howard have been Blade? Not really. He could actually be like maybe a part of Blade. He could have been like that, and that's how it worked. But I don't know, man. Hard to tell what could have happened, what should have happened. But it happened, and it just sucks that, in a way, continuity has issues with it. But technically, if you don't really mind it, you'll be fine. But for me, it's like, it's a big sore. It's a big, horrible sore. And the good news is that at least it's not as bad as freaking Batman. When it comes to Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises, that was the most horrible eyesore I ever seen. Where it's like, oh, but we actually have this character like right in your face. It's supposed to be your love interest, and it's like, yeah, but she changed, and how in the world can we get attached to the character if the character changed and would turn to someone that we don't really notice unless you really actually listen to be like, because come on, there can be two Rachels. Rachel is not a name that's just one person has and only one person. So it's like, yeah, Rachel. There's too many Rachels. There's always Rachels in the world. There's a Rachel who not receiving my calls and basically saying that, hey, who are you? There's another Rachel that was in Animorphs. She was a jerk bag. I'm glad she died. I said that. I so said that. What other Rachel is there? Frick. There's lots of Rachels out there. That's the main point. There's a lot of Rachels out there. But still, though, but still, it's like it's not that bad. I mean, Sony could have done worse though. Sony came close to actually doing it, and we have no idea how bad that would have ended. But pretty sure, considering they just did whatever they wanted to do in the third one, anyways, it wouldn't have been short lived. Tobey Maguire would have been in the first movie, and then Jake Gyllenhaal would have been in the second and the third movie, or I don't know.